Because we do have some time, we'll depart from our usual NESN format on lineups, and we'll give you the lineups right now. So if you're scoring along with us, here's the way the California Angels will hit this afternoon. Gary Pettis will lead off. He batted ninth last night. He's playing center field. Rob Wilfong replacing the injured Bobby Grich at second base. Wally Joyner at first base. Reggie Jackson, the designated hitter. Brian Downing in left field. Doug DeCinces at third. Rupert Jones in right field. Jerry Narron, the catcher. And Dick Schofield at shortstop. For the Red Sox, it will be Dwight Evans leading off and playing right field. Wade Boggs at third base. Bill Buckner at first. Jim Rice in left field. Don Baylor, the hitter. Rich Gedman catching. Marty Barrett at second base. Steve Lyons in center field. And Glenn Hoffman at shortstop. The umpiring crew will be Terry Cooney calling the balls and strikes. Steve Palermo at first. Larry Young at second. And Ken Kaiser at third. The day is kind of bad right now. It's cold and wind is blowing in, but right now it may not be Meridian, Mississippi weather, but Oil Can Boyd's going for it, and opposed by Jim Slayton.
What you'd like to see here this afternoon, of course, is just for Oil Can to get started, come right on, and everything move on a nice, smooth basis. Oil Can. Well, I don't think there's any reason for alarm. Gene Mauch, as you heard a minute ago, he likes to play a lot of percentages, although he didn't come right out and say it. He doesn't come right out and call it platooning, but today he'll have 5 straight left-handers in there, plus a switch hitter and Gary Pettis. Now, it's not alarming, as I mentioned before, but it's something that you might think about and keep your eye on during the course of the game. Oil Can this year has held right-handed batters to a .216 batting average, while left-handers have managed a .296 average against him. What he'll have to do here and concentrate on today is trying to keep the ball working maybe a little bit more away from the left-handed hitters, especially a hitter like Joyner, maybe like Rupert Jones. Reggie Jackson, you have to be a little bit careful with him, working away from him in this ballpark especially, because he possesses the kind of power that can go line to line with you. So he'll have to maybe have something ready for number 44. Boy, that man there has been ready a lot of times in his career, hasn't he, Ned?
Gene Mauch has said he was griping about not playing enough. You know, he's being DH against right-handed, and Gene Mauch said, I must be doing something right, because he was, at that time, he was hitting about 400. And it hasn't really gone down too much. He's hitting 373 now.
Well, one thing about this Angel club that I really didn't get into too much with Gene was a lot of things that were going on presently with him other than just a couple of his players. They do have 36 round trippers as a team, and they're kind of balanced out. Joyner, of course, Wally Joyner, their young first baseman, has the high number there with 8, but Reggie with 5, Brian Downing with 5, and down that lineup. Grich is going to get, he's going to hit a homer or 2 here and there. Burleson has stuck one in along the line. If they can, that's a little bit of what John McNamara is looking for, is a little bit of that consistency with some of his home run boys, basically Rice and Baylor. He'd like to get those guys with a few more round trippers under their belts, and they can have a lot more fun and enjoy, really enjoy, their combination of some hitting and pitching.
Well, the umpires now have walked to home plate. Out in the bullpen for the Angels, of course, as we mentioned before, a guy we see an awful lot of is Jim Slayton.
A lot of breaking balls from Jim Slayton. If you kept the chart on him today, you'd probably wind up with about 60% breaking balls. The Red Sox, of course, last night saw an awful lot of breaking balls from Mike Witt. One thing that you would have to be maybe thinking of, that the fact that Slayton, following a Witt who throws a lot of breaking balls, may have your lineup set up for him a little bit, but he can be tough. He's the bulldog type pitcher, and for him to have the amount of wins that he has, and by the way, he won his 150th career game in his last outing. He has worked as a starter, as a reliever throughout his career. He went to this Angel ball club, I think, as a starter, and then quickly became a reliever, went into that long relief position, and did just one heck of a job out of that Angel bullpen. And now with the injury to Candelaria, having been operated on shortly after the start of the season, Slayton finds himself once again back into a starting position with this Angel ball club.
Funny, his winning this season was not spent where he spent most of his years in Milwaukee or lately California. It was the 1 year he spent with the Tigers.
The Tigers, right.
Detroit, won 17 ball games. But he is, as you say, a very gamey competitor, because he doesn't give in too much and has become a pitcher throughout the years. After when he first came up, he could throw about as hard as anybody you saw when he first came up with Milwaukee late in 1971, and that's how long he has been around. The scorecard today, well, it's very skimpy because of the predominance of night action. But Oakland is at Toronto, and the Oakland A's are thumping Jimmy Key, the left-hander who has yet to win for the Blue Jays. Dave Kingman hit his 5th home run of the year in the 2nd inning with nobody aboard, and they have scored 4 in the 3rd and are still batting. Mickey Tettleton hit 1, and Kingman hit his 2nd of the game and his 6th. That one came in the 3rd with 2 men on. So they have scored at least 4 runs in that 3rd inning and are leading Toronto 5-0. And Jimmy Williams having a problem with that club north of the border. Seattle is at Milwaukee in a later start this afternoon. Swift against Nieves. Kansas City. The Yankees are at Chicago. Kansas City at Cleveland. Baltimore at Minnesota. And Detroit is at Texas. And the night games, all night games except one in the National League. The Dodgers are at the Cubs this afternoon in Chicago. There is the can.
Start number 6 for Dennis. This will be his 4th start here, at Fenway Park. As a matter of fact, his last 2 starts here, he has been a winner, mixing that around a loss out on that Kansas City road trip. 2-2 on the year, a 4.03 earned run average for Oil Can. 38 innings of work. He's given up 35 hits. He's walked 9, struck out 20, and a Red Sox staff now that has given up 20 home runs. Oil Can has delivered 5 of those.
Against the California Angels, last year he won 1 and lost 2, and in his career dealings with them, he has won 2 and lost 2. Has worked 33 2/3 innings all told against California and given up 19 earned runs. There's a group today of students from Seton Academy in Hyannis of Cape Cod here at the ballpark, and the Red Sox welcome them among several others who have come here to see the Red Sox wind up regardless of what happens today, a highly successful homestand.
Well, when you're 6-1 on a homestand, this is the last game in it. No matter what the weather is, it's a good day to play, believe me.
Darn right. Everybody geared to be playing and saying, okay, let's get another one under our belts and take the big bird west and see what havoc we can wreak out there.
Well, they're doing one thing, Ned, as we have talked about so many times. When you want to be a winning ball club, or when you are a winning ball clubs win a lot of close games. You win a lot of those 1-0, those 2-1s, those 3-0 games like Hurst put up last night. One other thing that winning ball clubs do and contending ball clubs do, when you have a ball club that's down, you're playing them in a series, which they have done against Chicago twice now. They've done it against Seattle. They have taken it right to the end. They have just pummeled them. And that's what you have to do. It's not a question of being a little bit overlooking any of those ball clubs because they're going a little bit bad. The Red Sox, one way or the other, have taken advantage of it, and we, of course, know what the results are.
That's entirely different from the way they attacked things last year, too, and that's the whole turnaround. Here's Mike Brown and Bruce Hurst beyond him, author of last night's masterpiece, in a way, a tiny masterpiece. Shutout's not bad in this ballpark. They're going crazy up there in Toronto again. Carney Lansford has added a home run to 2 by Kingman and 1 by Tettleton, and Oakland still batting in the 3rd inning. Gary Pettis with a strike, and we're underway at Fenway Park. Inside and by everybody. 1 ball, 1 strike. Incidentally, those home runs by Kingman and Lansford in the 3rd inning up in Toronto were back-to-back. Jimmy Key is gone. Gordon is on now for Toronto, and that the 4 home runs allowed by Key tied a Blue Jay record. 4 homers surrendered by a pitcher in 1 game. He did it in 3 innings. Pettis fouling it off. Gary is hitting at 180, having a struggle at the plate, but as was attested last night, it has not affected his performance in center field. Fine running catch on Buckner last night.
Would that be the Red Sox that hit those 4 home runs in a game up there, Ned?
Might have been. They did that last year, didn't they? I don't know.
Last year or 2 years ago, I think it might have been Evans, Rice, and I can't recall exactly.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Pettis is hitting 204. Hitting 180, but it's 204. But he has still been on a slide. And strike three, and Oil Can punches the first man out.
This is a I mean a very good breaking ball here. Right over the top, right off the edge of the coffee table, right down on the living room carpet does that ball go. And Pettit will wag the lumber back with him.
First man out on strikes, and Rob Wilfong is playing second base today. Carves away at the first pitch. It's in foul ground for Buckner. It is high, and it comes down finally. Bill Buckner with the catch. Wilfong is out. Playing in place of Bobby Gritch, who jammed a thumb in the last play of the game last night. Wally Joyner, the first baseman, hitting .324 with 8 home runs, 19 batted in. Center fielder Steve Lyons shaded over toward right center. Joyner looking up, ball one. Good looking young player, Wally Joyner. A lot of people saying some good things about this fella, both offensively and, as Mark said, defensively too. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Kind of nice if you're head of that organization out in Anaheim. You get a young man like this come along, you keep him healthy. You don't have to worry about a first baseman for a long time.
It's a 2 ball, 1 strike count. Everybody, including Oil Can and Joyner, all of them trying to bounce around a little bit and keep warm out there today. It's raw on the diamond. Tap down to Buck. It's fair. Over to Oil Can for the out. Joyner is out, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Boyd. After a half inning of play, it's California nothing, and the Red Sox coming to bat. Bottom of the first inning. No score in the game, and the veteran Jim Slayton out on the mound for the California Angels.
This will be start number 5 for Jimmy. A record of 3 wins and a loss. 31 innings of work. He's given up 30 hits. 17 runs all total. 14 of those have been earned. He's walked 9, struck out 16. Doesn't strike out quite as many as he did earlier in his career. Angel staff now has given him 26 home runs, and he has delivered 4 of them. One thing, as I mentioned, you would look and see a lot of breaking balls from this man today. One of the real pure sliders that's possessed by an American League pitcher.
First selected in the draft by the then Seattle Pilots, who eventually moved to Milwaukee, and Jim had most of his career with the Brewers, broken up by that 1 year with the Tigers, 1978, when he won 17 and lost 11. And with California combined in the last 2 years, up until now, he had won 13 and lost 20. He'll face Dwight Evans, Wade Boggs, and Bill Buckner. Evans hitting .253 with a couple of homers and 9 runs batted in. And the outfield playing just about straight away for Evans. Lights are on at Fenway. And a bending pitch to start it off for a strike. Evans went 0 for 3 last night. And rips it down into the crowd in left, bouncing back on the field. Ball kind of rolled slowly toward him, and he got it, but pulled it too much. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a little check swing on that breaking ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dwight almost was caught in between on that half swing. Here's where the wind is coming, right straight in toward home plate. The fabled east wind of Boston. Shows in that one outside, 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Evans leading off. 0-0 ball game. High in the air to shallow right field. Rupert Jones coming over and unable to make the catch as that wind blows it right into the stands. Everybody was out there. Joyner came over. Wilfong was there. Rupert Jones a mile from right field, and nobody could get it.
Well, that'll get some defense players attending a little bit more to the wind. This ball well into fair territory at one time as it started down that right field line, and all of a sudden Jones keeps going, and finally that ball right in Canvas Alley.
And well into it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Just missing outside, ball 3. Full count to Dwight Evans, putting a long at bat here early. Got him with the breaking ball, and Evans strikes out.
Breaking ball, a lot of them all through this sequence to Dwight. A couple of fastballs in there, but where fastballs are thrown, they're just like little teasers. He throws them just out of the strike zone where you can't reach them, and comes right back with a breaking ball.
1 down. Wade Boggs up. Boggs hitting .341 with 3 homers. Ball 1. So each pitcher in the game has fanned the first batter to face him. A strike to Boggs.
Now watch the sensei move around here. He acts as if at third, and once Slayton starts to come to the plate, the sensei will change his whole defensive set. He'll come in and into his left.
Boggs looks low. Ball 2. He's way outside that bag, as you see, bunched over toward the shortstop, Schofield.
It's kind of like saying, well, just see if you can hit it through here now. I'm just going to take it all away from you. A lot of room between him and the bag, though.
Now he moves over to the bag a little bit as the pitch was outside. He kind of leans around the corner looking for the catcher's sign, too.
You know what that's telling me? They think that Boggs can take that ball and hit it anywhere he wants to on that side, because one time he's in one place defensively, the next pitch he's gone the opposite way.
Boggs hits it right to the middle, but it's stopped by Slayton. So Boggs goes up the middle, but not with enough to get it by the pitcher, and they're 2 down. Bill Buckner moving in. Buck hitting at .212 with 1 home run and 10 batted in. Has 9 doubles, tied for second place in the American League with that figure. And a strike. It was a tough 0 for 4 last night. He hit the ball hard a couple of times. One of them 400 feet away almost in center field. Nice Willie Mays type catch by Gary Pettis. Lofts it foul, and the count quickly is 0-2. Two away, nobody on. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Red Sox go to Seattle tonight. The California Angels, after their long road trip, will go home after this one and await the onslaught of the East. Foul back, 1-2. Slayton working to Buckner. Curveball lofted to right center field, coming on Jones. Rupert Jones with the catch, and a 1-2-3 inning for Jim Slayton. So after 1 inning of play here, there is no score. Now a message from Sullivan Tire Family Car Care Centers. At Sullivan Tire, you'll be treated with our family spirit, because that's what Sullivan Tire is all about. There is the eye of the rooster. Rick Burleson, not playing today. He was the DH last night. Into every minute of every game.
You can bet that's hard for him to be right there, too, when
Yeah.
he knows he could be playing. I think he maybe, though, after talking to him for a couple of times, I think he's kind of accepted the fact, and he feels fortunate to be able to play at all again.
He is, and he realizes he can't go out there every day, because sometimes he said the shoulder hurt him a little bit yesterday. He was DHing. He wasn't playing. Here is Mr. Jackson. Reginald Martinez Jackson back to Fenway. He is the designated hitter. Facing Oil Can Boyd, taking ball 1. Jackson off to a fine start this year. 5 home runs, 13 runs batted in, that lofty .373 mark as the DH against right-handed pitching. Right down to Barrett, who stops it, has time, and gets Reggie going to first. Ball hit hard. Barrett getting in front of it.
Well, the veteran of 20 years plus in the big leagues is really getting it done here. He can still put a charge into a baseball. No doubt about that. That one charged up pretty good right to Marty. And is he ever getting it up and getting it down that line, Mr. Martin?
Darn right. Here he is, 1 step on a quick ground ball to second. Well, it's good to see Reg back. Brian Downing is the batter. Left fielder. Taking high, ball 1. Downing at .323 with 6 homers. 2-0.
Actually, Reggie's only an 18-year veteran. Seemed like a 20-year veteran, though.
He'll have it before it's all done somewhere. They say they like to have him back in New York, and maybe that was the biggest mistake they ever made down there. He still has some productive years left in him when he left. 3 balls, no strikes to Downing. And there's a strike.
You wanted a chance to hit anyway, Brian. Kind of likes this ballpark. 3 hits for him last night.
His 9th inning double would have been a lot more important had the game been 1-0 at the time. He's ahead of that one, right out in front of it, and now the count is 3-2. Downing, a good pull hitter. And they play him that way in the outfield, bunching him to left center. To Boggs. Right near the line. Long throw gets him. Good play by Wade on a ball hit right along in the chalk.
Well, you call it, Ned, a pull hitter, and 3-2. It's just as much a hitter's count. Trying to be flying those hips out of there, and that head pull right on the ground. Boggs very near the line for him anyway, because he does pull so much. Nice long throw, just about knee-high for Buckner to gather in over there and retire Downing.
2 out, and Doug DeCinces is up. DeCinces, the third baseman, hitting .245 with 3 home runs. Strike one. It's a 1-1 count. DeCinces had a 5-game hitting streak broken last night. Two home runs shy of the 200 career mark. Fly ball hit deep right field, but it's going to be held up there, and Dwight Evans will pocket the ball for the third out. 3 up and down in the second inning, and 6 in a row for Boyd, and after an inning and a half, there's no score. This copyrighted program is brought to you under pay cable TV rights granted by the Red Sox solely for the entertainment of our viewing audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the accounts and descriptions of this game without the written consent of the New England Sports Network and the Boston Red Sox is prohibited. Second inning, no score. Rice, Baylor, and Gedman up against Jim Slayton. Oakland 6 and Toronto nothing after 3 at Exhibition Stadium, and a rough getaway day for Toronto. That's the case. Barrage of 4 home runs, knocking Jimmy Key out. Here's Jim Rice, who has really been hitting well. Gotten into an early stride, something he has not been able to do in the late Aprils and Mays of the past couple of years. He's got a 12-game hitting streak going. 20 hits in his last 50 times up. That ought to do it, including 8 doubles, a couple of home runs. Here is a grounder to DeCinces. 1 out. DeCinces fairly wide of the bag that time on Rice. Don Baylor is the batter, and Doug will move a little bit more toward the line than he did for Jim Rice. Baylor at .205 with 4 home runs, 13 batted in. And over the middle it goes, but there is Wilfong with the play, and Baylor is out. Rob Wilfong had been shading around over towards second base anyway, so it was not a difficult play for him.
Wilfong, remember, originally in that Minnesota Twins uniform, and a very good fill-in player, believe me. He can make a lot of things happen for you. Good, solid defensive player. Made that play look a lot easier than maybe it was.
Gedman the batter, and Rich taking a strike. Jim Slayton missing outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 down in the Red Sox second inning of a scoreless game. Popped up. Foul ground. DeCinces. 1, 2, 3 for Slayton, and also 6 in a row. And after 2 innings of play, there's no score. Now a message from your Mass Chevy dealers, the place to get the truck deal of a lifetime. Top of the third inning, and Oil Can Boyd will face the lower third of the order for the California Angels. Rupert Jones, Jerry Narron, and Dick Schofield. Can so far has breezed through the first 6 hitters, as has Jim Slayton, so there's little to choose between these 2 pitchers so far. Each has struck out the first batter that he faced in the game. Rupert Jones did a fair amount of hitting for this ball club in the clutch last year. Has 2 homers in a .207 batting mark. Capable of getting hot for stretches at a time. Foul tip for strike 1. And a strike 2. Jones last year against the Red Sox hit .391 with a couple of home runs. .294 lifetime against Boston. Down to short, and Glenn Hoffman lets it go right through the wickets for an error. The tailgate stayed up, the glove did not get down, and it went right through him. Error charge to Hoffman.
Hoffman looked as if he anticipated his ball doing a little something that it didn't do, maybe coming up on that second bounce. Hoffy comes up with the glove, the ball goes right through. Ball hit pretty hard by Jones for an 0-2 pitch.
Runner at first base, nobody out, and Jerry Narron, the catcher, up. Narron has been up to bat just 7 times officially this year. Has 1 hit. That was the first Red Sox error in the last 7 games. That one just now committed by Hoffman. They've been playing very well defensively. 1 ball, no strikes to Narron. Narron takes ball 2. Jerry's the kind of guy that's been around. He's the kind of person that can be included in trades because he can stand in as a number 1 or backup catcher. He has power to right field. He's ahead on the count, 2-0. Down to first, and Buckner throws the ball. Dropped by Hoffman. Gets the bag, though, for the out. And what a play that was. And a chance to get a double play. Buckner didn't know that he had the runner right at his hip, practically, where he could have tagged him and then gone to the bag. Instead, he threw low. Hoffman finally got his foot on the bag.
Jones will hold up here to make sure this is not going to be a caught line drive. That ball will stay up in the air. Buckner could have just turned around, tagged Jones, and then stepped on the bag. Could have made the double play without even throwing. Throws low to Hoffman. Now Hoffman looking for the ball with the glove and the bag with the foot.
Well, Buck realized that he get a little goofing on that play, both on the idea and on the throw. But they get the lead man. That's what they wanted to get, certainly. Schofield is the batter, runner at first. Fielder's choice for Narron. 1 ball, no strikes to Dick Schofield. 3 homers and 7 RBIs for him. And a throw over everybody. That goes into the seats. So everybody's throwing the ball around all of a sudden. It's an error charge to Boyd. The Red Sox. Now they argue that since the ball went into the grandstands, they should have another base on that.
Well, I think he's arguing that Oilcan stepped off the rubber. Did he? If he did, he does get 2 bases because he becomes it. No, he didn't. It almost looked like he started to, but he did not. If he goes behind that rubber,
throwing it.
Right, he becomes a fielder, and then you do get the one you're going to and 1 more. But as it was, Oilcan did not know that Buckner was playing behind the runner at first. And when he looked up to throw over there, Buckner had to move in behind, and I think Oilcan was kind of alarmed, and that ball went up over everybody's head, hitting that camera, the dugout, the photographer's dugout railing, and on up into the seats.
So Mark is explaining his position to Ken Kaiser.
Well, it's a balk.
Yeah, that looks like a balk. He looks like he made a little move toward the plate with 1 foot. Maybe that's what he's talking about. At any rate, A balk deadens the thing anyway, and you still only get second base, Gene.
That's all.
1 ball, no strikes. So after going 6 games without an error, the Red Sox suddenly have committed 2 here. Could have had 3. There's a high pop-up to the left side. Hoffman there. So's Boggs. Who's going to get it? Boggs calls. Hoffman ducks away, and there are 2 outs. Two down. With all this happening, nothing has left the infield on Oil Can. And he'll face Gary Pettis, whom he struck out in the first. High and deep to right field. That might get it, stays fair, but it's going to be fair ball. Curved around the pole, according to the umpire, and it's a home run. It was curving toward the foul pole, and we've seen a couple of those Fenway homers to right in this homestand. Gary Pettis gets his home run, and it's a 2-0 ball game.
This ball may have hit the pole, and that looked like it took a funny carom as it got down there. High, looked like a high screwball to Pettis. He just reached right up and grabbed it and hooked it down that right field line. Is it a high screwball? Yes, sir. She'll travel right down that line. Evans is going to track it toward the pads off the pole.
And it settles in the seats. There's a ground ball down to first base, hit by Wilfong, and it's 3-1 on the play. Buckner over to Boyd for the final out, but damage done, and well, the errors had something to do with it too. 2 runs for California, and we move to the bottom of the third. 2-0 Angels. Red Sox down by 2 now, coming to bat in the bottom of the third. There is Mr. Pettis, who just authored the right field home run. He is playing center field in a very shallow one with the wind blowing in. He plays a shallow one anyway, but now with the wind behind him, all outfielders can come in a step today. Marty Barrett first up. Then it'll be Steve Lyons and Glenn Hoffman. Barrett at 325. Strike. Jim Slayton on the mound. One ball, one strike. Fly ball, right center field. Pettis and Jones combine, and it's Jones with the catch. Rupert Jones, the right fielder. Steve Lyons coming in. 6 hits and 27 times up. And the breaking pitch outside corner for a strike. Well, unless you're one of the big strong guys, why the home run hit by Pettis is your best bet today with the wind the way it is. Down that right field line. Lyons goes to left. It hangs up there for Downing, who makes the catch on the track. Downing has spent a lot of time the last couple of games on that warning track in left. 2 out in a hurry. Glenn Hoffman. 4 hits and 16 times up. Had a big double last night that led to a run. Ball 1. Softly to shortstop. Schofield. 1, 2, 3 for Slayton, and he's taken down 9 in a row. After 3, 2-0 California. Through 3 innings, it's a 2-0 affair with California leading on the home run by Pettis, and we go to the 4th. Bob Montgomery.
First batter up, Wally Joyner. First ball hunting, quickly to Barrett at second. He'll straighten up and throw out Joyner. And he's been held down in this series pretty good so far by Red Sox pitching. He's 0 for 2 today. Just another young player that somebody's going to have to figure out at the end of the year, of all the young players and first-year players, exactly who's done the best.
The best of them this year.
Well, they are. Both ways, too. Designated hitter today for Gene Mauch and the Angels, Reggie Jackson. He was out on a shot to Barrett. His first time up. Reggie gets a little more time off against left-handers now, although he'll be hitting against some left-handers. To left field and high. Rice will drop back a couple of steps, but have room as he stands in the middle of the track to haul it in. 2 away. 2 up, 2 down in the Angel 4th. Red Sox trailing 2-0. And that'll bring up the left fielder, Brian Downing. These sharp guys observe, I guess, record setters when they're playing, especially one on Reggie's 521st home run. Somebody was keen enough to, or guess, I don't know how you would ever do it. Why would you look at a clock when a guy hits a home run, but it happened to hit it at 5:21. The can low and outside to Downing. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Hit that 521st career home run off Frank Wills of Seattle, in Seattle. I don't know that they have any more clocks spread around that ballpark than any other park in the American League. Do you?
Well, you can tell it by the set of bells that they ring off every time that somebody scores for Seattle.
2-1 into center field, softly hit. On comes Lyons, and he has the nice running catch, about bell tie. 3 up, 3 down, 4th inning for the Angels. Bottom half of the 4th coming up with the Red Sox trailing 2-0. And now a message from Sullivan Tire Family Car Care Centers. At Sullivan Tire, you'll be treated with our family spirit, because that's what Sullivan Tire is all about. Jim Slayton with a 2-0 lead over the Boston Red Sox as we go to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Slayton trying to up his record and make it a very respectable 4-1, making his 5th start of the year here for the Angels. He's had 1 relief appearance. Couple of the game under the 500 mark career-wise against Boston, 11-13. The team he's beaten most in the American League has been the Cleveland Indians, with 18 wins against them. The club that he has beaten most in second, the team he now pitches for, the California Angels. He has beaten them 14 times along with Chicago. Top of the order up as Slayton has retired the first 9 he's faced. Dwight Evans here in the 4th inning. Dewey, a strikeout victim, Slayton's only strikeout victim in the 1st. Oakland pouring it on Toronto. They lead him 10-0 after 4.5. Line drive left field. Downing will play it on 1 hop. Evans has the first Red Sox hit, and it's their first base runner. So the ice is broken by a quick Evans swing here. You know, on the breaking ball, that ball got down a little bit, but right in the middle of the plate pretty much for Dwight. Looked for a second like Downing was going to try to come on and make that catch, but he held up and played it to a single. Here's Wade Boggs. Slayton a bit low to Wade. 1-0, excuse me. Oakland has had some funds in 2 different innings. They got 5 in the 3rd, 4 in the 5th just completed. and 1 2 for their 10-0 lead over the Blue Jays. 4 homers already in that game for Oakland. Popped up third base way, foul ground to Sensei over. Schofield tracking. No room, way out of play, back up into the seats. Boston goes to Seattle after this game this afternoon. California will be going back to the Big A in Anaheim. And the 3 clubs, of course, they played here in the Eastern Division will be traveling along with them. Toronto and Milwaukee will be going to the West Coast. Milwaukee will start off at Oakland. Of course, the Red Sox at Seattle. And Toronto will be entertained by these Angels tomorrow night. To left field, could be off the wall. Downing going back. It'll find ground. Evans around second for third. To throw to second, not in time. Boggs has the double. Boggs just takes this pitch and just serves it right up off that left field wall. Downing will immediately realize that he cannot get to it. He'll go back and turn to make the play. He looks at third first. When he comes off with this carom, when he looks at third, it was just enough time to allow maybe there not be a close play at second on Boggs, as he turned first in a hurry, headed for second, and he'll have the double. They stand at second and third, nobody out. And Buckner the hitter. Red Sox have been something with those doubles. That is the 17th game now in a row in which they've had at least one double. Breaking ball stays up high to Buck. Buckner flying out to Jones to end the first inning. Boggs and Buckner now tied for the team high in doubles. Both of them have 9. Slips out of the hand of Slayton. Does that breaking ball? It's way high and outside. 2-0 to count to Buck. Brian Downing of these California Angels leads the league in doubles. He has 10. That one coming last night as he drilled it off the center field wall here. Buckner right on that 2-0 pitch, fouls it back. Red Sox are out hitting the Angels now 2-1, but trailed 2-0. Their 2 runs accounting for by the first homer of the year for Gary Pettis.
A long year.
Sure was. As a matter of fact, the first time he's hit a homer since last June the 1st to be exact, in Detroit. Right field on the line. Jones has it shoulder high. Evans will tag, and he will come on to score. It's 2-1. Joe Buckner, although he doesn't get a hit out of it, again drives one hard into the Angel outfield. And he will pick up his 11th RBI. Boy, he got right down to the bottom end of a pretty good pitch. Jones just about in his tracks. He realizes he has no play on Evans. He'll come right to the middle of the diamond. Evans scoring, and it's 2-1 California. Trying to console a Buckner a little bit in that Red Sox dugout, as hard as he's been hitting the ball lately. And not more to show for it. Here's Rice. They try to crowd him. He takes it on the inside corner. Strike 1.
Well, wait till it gets inside or else out in the warm weather. Buck may start unloading out there.
You know what you have to guard against as a hitter, Ned, when you're hitting the ball like that, not getting any hits, is worrying about changing something. You say, well, let me do this a little different. Maybe I'll get a hit if I do that. Rice off the hands to Sensei, wide of him. Schofield has it. The throw low and dug out nicely over there by Wally Joyner. They'll retire Rice on the 6-3 put out. Of course, Boggs having to hold his ground at second, and that's 2 down.
Grounder, a little crisscross play out there, getting past to Sensei, but a nice play by Schofield backing him up. Righted himself for a nice long throw, and the scoop on the other end by Joyner.
Schofield, a good job with concentration there, not to let DeCinces interrupt his view or make him blink, blocking his view maybe on that grounder. Here's Baylor. Breaking ball. Nice stop by Nairn. Buckner of a mind, though. We're talking about him maybe worried about changing something. A veteran like him would be less likely maybe to get caught up in that thing. But I know hitters that have had that happen to them. Don't worry about changing their stance or where they hold their hands. Before you know it, then they're not even hitting it good. They crowned Baylor with that one. He's up in the count 2-0. Hardest thing to do, though, is say to yourself, man, I know I'm hitting the ball good. Well, how come I'm not getting any hits? Feel like you want to do something to help one along. And you start steering it a little bit, and then you're really in trouble. Baylor being crowded again by Slayton, and it's off the plate inside. 3 balls, no strikes. Breaking ball in there. Slayton not taking any chances on Baylor maybe having the green light.
All kinds of things going on up in Toronto.
Well, Toronto finally did get on the scoreboard up there. Jesse Barfield has hit his 5th homer. That is the 5th home run hit in that game, the first one by Toronto. And Baylor has the walk, as if it was almost intentional, unintentional. 5th inning completely over now in Toronto, and it's 10-1 on Oakland lead. Gordon of the Blue Jays is now given away to Bill Caudle. Of course, Moose Haas stands a pretty good shot now of keeping his record intact and becoming a 6-0 winner. Pickoff play on, but no turn there. Schofield trying to sneak in behind Boggs, who aggravated a little bit with a sore right leg. Trying to grab it there a little bit as he broke back for the bag. Gedman popped out to DeCinces in the second. A little sinking fastball from Slayton there, strike 1. Red Sox as a team last year hit about 280 against California. Gedman there, you saw that average on him against these Angels. Boggs just keeps adding on to his. He already at 400 and over that now. How can he hit 400 against an opponent? That's incredible. Doesn't matter to him. He likes that hard infield too out in Anaheim. Off speed and outside to Gedman. 2 balls a strike to count. Everybody just about straight away for Richie. They shade him a little bit to the second base side on the infield as far as the left side of it is concerned. Schofield pulls over a step or 2, but no more than that. DeCinces, of course, wide of the bag at third. Foul, third base way and out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. Some different looks in that Angel lineup today. As we mentioned, they'll switch them back and forth. Malk kind of has the type of ball club that he can play. Well, almost a solid right-handed lineup against the left-hander and almost a solid left-handed lineup against the right-hander. Grits, Burleson, Hendrick, and Boone all get a rest today. To straightaway center field, it's curving toward the wall. Pettis had it misplayed, now circles, and the second time in a week they've run together, and Brian Downing has got the catch. There may be somebody hurt on this one, though. So the Red Sox score a run. here in the bottom of the 4th inning to cut the Angel lead in half. They'll have a quick look at Gary Pettis, and we'll check in with him when we come back to get ready to start inning number 5. After 4, it's 2-1 California. The Angel dugout office, so of course out there checking on Gary Pettis in deep left center field. Their trainer, Rick Smith, along with Ned Burgett out there, Gene Mauch. Looked like the left knee or the left ankle area they're looking at. When we left you, of course, before, Pettis seemed to be holding on to that left knee.
It was a big tangle out there, and Downing did well to hold on to the baseball really after it, because the ball was into the wind, and Pettis had to start the circle that way. Downing came over, and here was a collision.
What you look for in the back end of that is maybe Pettis' lips moving to say that I have it, I have it, I have it. I saw no motion of his lips moving there, and you're right, Ned. It's amazing how Downing was able to hang on to it. And since Pettis has gone down, he is still down and has not gotten up from this point. Wow.
I don't know where he got the knee. He wasn't twisted on the fall. He must have been jammed into by Downing somewhere along the line. And Charlie Moss now, the Red Sox trainer, and an attendant going out with a stretcher. So Pettis is hurt enough so that they have to call for a stretcher to take him off.
I wonder if it could be his shin area that he might have really gotten racked into. The elbow looked like it got up in the face area, maybe on the chin of Pettis, to have that hat come flying off and that head go back. With our attention focused up there, may have been a shoe or a cross leg that hit into Pettis.
Well, they've got the stretcher out now, whether he wants it or not. It looks as if he was waving something away, but they're going to have Dr. Arthur Pappas, the Red Sox team physician, now going out to attend Gary Pettis.
Well, they're being very ginger with that left leg.
Yeah.
And it looks like now he's holding something that's down below the knee in the shin area. Maybe we can run that back one more time and concentrate a little more on the lower part rather than the top part. You see the elbow certainly coming into the head area. Oops, there was a knee right into the knee.
That's where the knee of Downing. Thought it didn't look like he twisted it. Just got a head-on shot, really, or a knee-on shot.
Well, it's amazing, as I mentioned last night, that these two fellas had that run-in over in Milwaukee on pretty much the same type of catch. Both of them had laid sprawled out. It knocked the wind out of Gary Pettis on that particular instance, but neither of them, Downing or Pettis, was sore after it. And that's a little hard to believe. Certainly there's going to be some soreness of some kind right here now. You know, it looked like Ned, could he possibly have hyperextended that knee? It looked like Downing may have caught him just as Pettis was planting that left foot. If
well,
that
could have
be the
been
case,
too. Could have had some things in the back of the knee.
Let's go
damage
slow.
There.
Slow. Ooh, right there. Knee to knee.
Yeah. Right above the bone.
And then he lands on it funny.
He's trying to protect it there. He's grabbing it as he goes down.
Well, we've talked about a couple of times running into Downing is about like running into that wall without the pads on it out there.
So Gary Pettis is severely shaken up in that collision, and they'll wheel him off, and there'll be another outfielder out there now for the California Angels.
Well, he may move, I don't know, we'll just guess here. He probably would move Rupert Jones to center maybe and put George Hendrick back in right field. It would be one of his options.
Well, Pettis has had quite an afternoon. It was his home run responsible for putting the Angels ahead at this time. Two-run homer curling to the foul pole. Now he has been injured on a nice catch by Downing, which ended an inning and could have resulted in a couple of Red Sox runs had Downing not been able to come up with that ball. So Al Forrester's truck is taking Pettis off the field and into that runway down in the left field corner. with trainers and doctor and everybody going in following him. And a tough break for Gene Mauch, the manager, who does not like to lose a performer. Although Pettis had not been hitting, there's not too many better center fielders around defensively than Pettis of the Angels.
They've got a lot of outfield to cover in that big A, too, and he really helps them cover it.
So we go to the top of inning number 5. Doug DeCinces will be up. The Angels are leading 2-1. Oil can Boyd with a long layoff here. Got some throwing in. DeCinces flied to right his first time up. Strike 1. Has hit pretty well over the years against Boston pitching. Slowly hit. Boggs charging. Gets it over there. 1 away.
Oh, cue shot off of some kind of breaking ball from Oil Can. Of course, DeCinces really likes to pull that ball, too. Puts it down off the end. Boggs on the move. He'll stay on the move. Just continue right on through with a running type throw to Buckner. Plenty of time to get Dougie.
Rupert Jones is up now. Reached on an error by Hoffman that kicked off the 2-run third inning, culminating in the home run by Pettis. Ball 1. And a 1-1 count. Right through that one. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Rupert.
I think Rupert actually came to the big leagues as a center fielder, if I'm not mistaken, when he played with Seattle. That's where he played all the time, didn't he?
Right. He was. And he is handcuffed that time by Oil Can. Boyd picks up his second strikeout. 2 away.
Not only was some hard stuff here, very well located as far as Oil Can is concerned. Rupert Jones just simply can't get in there to get that ball out of that position. He went right in there twice.
Jerry Narron taking strike 1, a breaking ball. Narron had a fielder's choice in that funny play when he grounded to Buckner. Buckner threw to second for the force out. When Hoffman was feeling around for the bag and finally touched it just ahead of the runner. 0-2 to Narron. Gapper left center field. Drilled to the wall. Narron takes the turn. He's got an easy double. That's double territory in any ballpark. Jerry Narron going the opposite way, slicing the double down into the gap in left center field.
The bugaboo got Oil Can again. No balls, 2 strikes. Too good a pitch here. Narron just works on it hard. Right up that gap. This grass a little damp from some earlier rains, and she won't bounce. It'll just scoot right on up in there. And you're absolutely right. That's double territory in every ballpark. And in some ballparks, maybe 3-bagger.
Number 9 hitter Dick Schofield is up. Schofield popped up in the 3rd inning. Rips it foul to the roof. Off the facing of the roof and left. 0-1. California has 2 runs and 2 hits. The Red Sox 1 run, 2 hits, and 2 errors.
Here's where Dennis has to save himself some runs. It's cost him some runs. His last outing, it cost him a run.
Strike 2.
You've got that guy in scoring position with 2 out, second or third. Well, you have really got to bow your neck and think about exactly what you want to do with it and concentrate a little extra. Those guys who want to be consistently winning tough type pitchers just don't give those kind of runs up.
He's got another 0-2 count. this time to Schofield. And Dick calls time for a moment. On the 0-2 count just now, Narron doubled to left center. They will position way outside, and there is strike 3. He didn't mean that. But he went for it anyway, and Boyd gets out of it, striking out his third batter. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left. And after 4 1/2 innings, halfway through, it is California 2 and Red Sox 1. Now a message from your Mass Chevy dealers, the place to get the truck deal of a lifetime. In right field now for the Angels, George Hendrick. Hendrick now going into the lineup, playing right field, and will bat in the leadoff spot formerly occupied by Gary Pettis. And moving over to play center field is Rupert Jones. Rupert Jones now in center field. So that's where we have it with Gary Pettis out. We'll try to get a report from Dr. Pappas and the dressing room of the Angels to see just how Gary Pettis is and what is wrong. Big collision. And the Red Sox were up the last time. Final out of the inning, and Downing catching the ball. Marty Barrett starts it off against Jim Slayton. Red Sox trailing 2-1. And there's a good breaking pitch for a strike. Barrett flied to right field in the third. Pitchers afternoon with the wind blowing in. Each team has just 2 hits. Tapped right back to Slayton. 1 out. Steve Lyons coming up. Flied to left field in the third. Hit it pretty well. Strike 1. Slayton, as mentioned before, will use the breaking stuff an awful lot. A hard slider, and he gets a curveball. He will start you off with it. Running up and taking ball 1 is Lyons. Oakland 10, Toronto 2 now at the end of 6 innings. Steve pops it up to the left side, back into shallow left field it goes. Watch out. Brian Downing says, I'll take it. And Schofield shears off at the last moment, avoiding another collision. Nobody wants to collide with Downing anyway. He's a solid individual out there. Makes the catch on the soft pop-up into left field. Schofield calling it right there, and all of a sudden Downing, who has the ball in front of him, it's his call, makes the play. 2 down in the Red Sox 5th inning. Glenn Hoffman up. Ball 1. Hoffman grounded to shortstop in the third. On the corner, 1-1. Well, Dave Sack's brother, Steve, has hit a home run for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they lead the Cubs at Wrigley 1-0, bottom of the first. Soft stuff again, ball 2. For Sacks, his 2nd home run of the year. Welch against Hoffman in that game. Hoffman to the screen. 2-2. And he shoots it into right field. Solid base hit for Hoffman with 2 out. So give it to me there. I'll take it there. And Glenn is on with his first hit.
Pretty base hit, too. Especially when you're down in the count, you want to be a little more protective. Oh, everything stayed right there. Kind of a textbook-looking swing from Hoffman.
Runner at first base with 2 outs, and Evans coming in. Dwight has struck out and singled and scored the Red Sox run. Outside corner. Nothing in 1 the count with 2 away. Good breaking pitch again on Dwight. Nothing in 2.
Oh, you're going to see so many from Slayton once in a while. You just might ought to just look for one. Although I don't know if you could hit that one if you'd have looked for it. It's a pretty good one.
No balls, 2 strikes. Pass Slayton and gobbled at shortstop by Schofield, over to second for the force out, and that retires the side, and a pretty mild inning at that. So we go to the 6th inning with the Angels leading 2-1. Going to the 6th inning with the Angels leading 2-1. Monty, what was that report by Dr. Pappas?
Dr. Pappas has informed us that they've taken Gary Pettis along to the Beth Israel Hospital for some x-rays on an injury that appears to be just above his left knee. And the way he was holding it when he went off, you kind of hope there's not an awful lot of damage in there, but it's kind of scary when they bring that stretcher out.
Yeah, it is. George Hendrick, who replaced Pettis in the batting order, batting in the number 1 position, the leadoff spot now, and playing right field. He played in the game last night. And a ball from Oil Can. Hendrick at .318 with 5 home runs and 8 runs batted in. A ball, and the count is 2-0. Little off-speed pitch that time. Ball 2. Strike 1. The third pickup by Boggs, and he's out. Nice play on a exploding line drive right at the feet on the backhand of Boggs.
Just stations himself nicely. Actually, as hard as this ball hit, may have needed to nail himself down as it goes into the backhand. Boy, he made that look so nice and easy. So smooth as he comes out of the backhand up throwing. Well, that's kind of disgusting to a hitter like Henry. You look down there and you, oops, right away he's seen Boggs with it on the backhand. Now you know he's got to run to first.
Wilfong bunts foul. Wilfong has 80 career bunt singles. Doc, he's one of the best bunters in the league. Always has been. And 80 bunt singles, a lot of them. Considering the fact that he's not always a full-time player.
No, sir.
Boggs now in on the grass at third with 1 strike to Wilfong. One and one.
He is very much a Gene Mauch type player. Comes to the ballpark, he gives you everything he's got every day you ask him to play or not play, he'll give you.
Gene wanted to get him as a foul out of play. When he went to the Angels and had a chance to get him from the Twins, he really wanted him because he knew what he could do for him. Ball and 2 strikes.
I think Doug Corbett may have been connected in that trade somewhere. Also
Tom Brunanski, who came from the Angels to the Twins, I think, in that one. 1-2. Still 1-2.
Won't have a lot of trouble with Gene Mauch as your manager if you come to the ballpark ready to play and play. He knows you're going to make mistakes, but if you give him everything you got every day, you'll get along just fine with Mr. Mauch.
Strike 3, and Wilfong down on strikes. That's number 4 for Boyd.
Good off-speed pitch right here. Kind of a little turnover to it. Nice one.
With 2 down and nobody on, it's Wally Joyner up. He is grounded to first and grounded to second. Hit well towards center, but Lyons is there. And 1, 2, 3, they go in the 6th inning. We move to the bottom of the 6th. California 2, the Red Sox 1. The Oakland A's are at it again up in Toronto. 3 more runs in the 7th inning. They lead Toronto now 13-2. Kingman has hit 2 homers. Tettleton's hit 1. Lansford has hit 1 for Oakland. Jesse Barfield had 1 for Toronto. That was the 93rd career homer for Barfield. That's first place on the Toronto all-time list for home runs for the young right fielder. Wade Boggs up in the 6th. Jim Slayton working in a miserable baseball afternoon on top of a 2-1 lead. Wind been blowing in ever since the game started. Red Sox have 3 hits, California 2, and Boggs takes it outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wade doubled his last time up. He's 1 for 2.
Wait.
2-1. They are underway in County Stadium, Milwaukee. Seattle did not score in the top of the 1st. Billy Swift going for the Mariners. Juan Nieves for Milwaukee. Steve Sax's home run has L.A. ahead of the Cubs at Wrigley Field, 1-0 after 1. 3-1. Pretty good pitch to hit. Wade wanted that one. 3-2. Slayton has been just as good as he's had to be. He has 1 strikeout. That was the first hitter he faced in the game. Evans in the 1st inning. He's been getting them to pop up or ground out, and there's been several balls hit well but held back by the wind. 3-2 to Boggs spoils that one, and it's still 3-2. John McNamara, hoping to make it a 7-1 homestand, still has a shot at it in the 6th inning, and his team down by only a run. Base hit left center field. Rolling toward the scoreboard. Boggs takes the turn, and he'll charge in there with a 2-base hit. His 2nd double. Well, there was a vintage Boggs double.
Pretty to watch every time, isn't it? When he turns it loose like this, 3-2 to count, he just comes whittling away at you. His 2nd double of this ball game, his 10th now to not only take a team lead in that category, but tie up Brian Downing for the league lead. More importantly, though, he represents the tying run now for Boston here in the 6th inning. Jones getting some quick action as he moved right over to center field.
Right to the pads in left center, and now Bill Buckner is up. Buckner has flied twice to right field, one of them a sacrifice fly, driving in the only Red Sox run. He hits it high toward right center field, not deep. George Hendrick in. Wynn takes it in, and Boggs has to hold. 1 out. 3 times Buckner has flied to right. His sacrifice fly, though, was a line drive out there. Hendrick getting some action now as he is into right field since Gary Pettis had been injured. Jim Rice is the batter. 1 out and a runner at second. Pretty fair homestand for Jimmy, I'd say. Ball 1. And a breaking pitch outside, ball 2. 2-0 to Rice.
Here's where you need a batter to pick up another one. Buckner usually pretty efficient at moving a runner along when he should be. Certainly in this situation, nobody out, Boggs at second. Buck would like to pull that ball either on the ground to the right side or hit it deep enough into that outfield to allow Boggs to move over to third. So now you just got to pick him up the tough way.
Rice whams it foul. 2 balls, 1 strike. Tying run at second base in a 2-1 ball game. California got the runs in the third, a 2-run homer by Gary Pettis. Red Sox got 1 back in the fourth. And are trying to tie it up right now, or go ahead if they can. Outfield straight away on Rice. And it's 2-2.
Boy, if somehow he could have pulled the trigger to get that ball through the hole in the right side, he could have driven 2 boxcars and a locomotive through there. Wilfong had moved, trying to move in behind Boggs, maybe for a pickoff play. Slayton didn't see him and went ahead and came to the plate. Rice could have hit that ball off the end of the bat, and there wouldn't have been anybody there to catch it.
Now it's 2-2. Wilfong moves again, but gets back. And it's 3-2 now. Full count to Jim Rice. Don Baylor on deck. Spoils the 3-2 pitch. Hit him and he got mad at it. Flicked that baseball away.
That ball bit him on the foot and he just fired it out of there when he went down to pick it up. That ball already running down and in on Jimmy. Looked like he got it just up on the ball of the foot.
Get out of here.
Baylor better watch out on deck over there. That ball went scooting by him.
Well, the ball hit you that way on a day like this. It'd be even worse. 3-2. Fly ball, right field again, and Hendrick coming, loping over toward the line with the catch. Boggs off the base, but back in there again. So 2 fly balls to right field have left Wade Boggs at second. Now it leaves it squarely up to Don Baylor, who has grounded out and walked. Baylor trying to get back on track. He's been having his troubles lately at the plate. I imagine that it's not exactly Baylor hitting weather. Little nubber towards short, cut off by DeCinces, and gets Baylor to end the inning. And the Red Sox leave a runner at second after a leadoff double by Boggs. We go to the 7th. 2-1 California. Going into inning number 7 with the low totals on this cold day with the wind blowing in. 2-2-0 for California, 1-4-2 for Boston. And good pitching by Jim Slayton and Oil Can Boyd, Monty, as we go with Reggie Jackson in the top of the 7th.
The game breaker due up there, although the Angels lead 2-1. Pretty good pitching performance indeed. Those fellas today, even though they've had maybe not a really good day for them to be gripping that baseball, we've seen some pretty good breaking balls, certainly from Slayton. Reggie so far 0 for 2. Grounded to second, fly to left. Some big numbers for him. Really, I mentioned earlier about him playing against some left-handers. A lot of his milestone home runs have come against left-handed pitching. Of course, his strength to the opposite field doesn't really bother him much. He's only ever had 1 year when he's hit 300. That was in 1980 when he wore the pinstripes for New York. Hit an even 300 that year. He's had a couple of 290-plus years. Swings right through that oil can pitch, and it's a 2-1 count.
You always like to watch him swing. Boy, there's no halfway about it.
Broken bat, grounder toward Barrett at second. Bat sticks in the ground. Reggie is out #1 in the 7th inning.
Can passes the baton to him as he goes by it.
That particular year for Reggie, I was talking about when he hit the 300, it also happened to lead the league in home runs with 41, so it wasn't all one way or the other with him. He was power and average. Averaged 29 home runs a year in his career. That make you popular with a few people. One out, nobody on, is left fielder Brian Downing. Red Sox down by a run here in the top of the 7th inning. Angels lead 2-1. Downing held hitless so far today. Something a little off speed over by Oil Can. 1-1 to count to the Angel left fielder. Over Hoffman's head, not hard hit, just a looping kind of line drive down toward the end of the bat. And the Angels have collected their 3rd hit. Make that their 4th hit off Oil Can this afternoon. Third, excuse me. One of the errors I credited with a base hit earlier in this game. That was back in the 3rd inning. One out, Downing at first. Third baseman Doug DeCinces gets ready to step in. DeCinces 0 for 2. Fly to right. He's bounced to Boggs at third, leading off the 5th inning. DeCinces wanted plate umpire Terry Cooney to have a look at the ball. Pretty sharp eyes those hitters have got sometimes. DeCinces and Wilfong running right on the same ratio as that graphic tells you there. Wilfong strikes out once in every 7 at bats, but DeCinces will supply a lot more power for that ratio than Wilfong will. Ned told you earlier, 2 home runs shy of a career 200 home runs for DeCinces. The thing about not being a home run hitter, Ned, you never get disappointed when you didn't hit any.
It's always a pleasure when you do hit one.
Right.
Cream on the cake.
These guys get frustrated once in a while. You're supposed to hit home runs. You know you're supposed to hit home runs, and go on those long streaks and you don't. Start wondering. Hit hard toward Boggs again on the backhand. He'll spin all the way around. They'll get just one at second as Downing goes in pretty hard and had a chance to get in on top of Barrett because the ball had to be taken and spun all the way around by Boggs at third.
A real nice play by Wade Boggs this time with the 360-degree turn. The ball kind of carrying him around that way. So let's continue it. All right, all the way around. And here's to Barrett. Tough play at second base. Marty does a good job getting the ball off, but they did not have a chance to turn the double play, really.
I'll say one thing. They're not very consistent with that rolling call at second base with the interference. There's another one there by Downing. I don't know what the line of mark is. Are you already out and you can't do it, or is it every time you do it? At any rate, they certainly didn't call it there. Here's center fielder Rupert Jones. Bounce to Buckner. Over his glove. Foul ball.
Ooh.
Wow, was that close? Umpire Steve Palermo right on top of it, had an extra long look at it before making a decision.
For a moment, it looked as though that could have gone fair and real trouble for the Red Sox, but right along the chalk and heeling out of there, right there, just outside the line, in that 3-foot leeway line right at that point.
That ball hitting into one of those foot divots down there around the front of that bag somewhere and made that ball come up high. Buckner had the glove up, but the head going down. He's thinking protection there. 0-1 to count to Jones. Hits this one hard, base hit. DeCinces will go to second. He'll hold right there. And Rupert Jones now 1 for 3 in the afternoon. That ball hit hard by the center fielder. That's one of those line drives there we were talking about where they kind of catch it on the upswing and it gets over that infield high enough that nobody can handle it, but dives before it gets to those outfielders.
A lot of topspin on that one as it went to Evans.
Catcher Jerry Narron steps in. 2 outs. Ken a little off speed to him. Ball and no strikes. Narron's on twice today. Once with an error. He doubled on an 0-2 count back in the 5th inning. And he scored one of the 2 Angel runs. Pops it up into center field. Lyons looks up into a brightening sky, hauls it in, and the Angels do not score in the top of the 7th inning. They get a couple of hits, and they leave 2, and at the end of 6.5, lead 2-1. Some more honors being bestowed upon right-hander Roger Clemens of the Red Sox pitching staff. He was named Player of the Month last week, and then today was named Player of the Week. Clemens, of course, followed that 20 strikeout night that broke the record with 10 strikeouts, giving him a total of 30 strikeouts in that week span. How you handling it, Tex? Just like that.
Be ready for Oakland next week.
Maybe a few more honors coming out of that for him along the line. Sitting right next to his good friend and pitching mate Al Nipper. You usually find those two around here like a couple peas in a pod. Red Sox need a point to tie a crooked number to go out in front of Jim Slate. Gedman leading it off here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Takes a breaking ball a bit low for ball 1. Getty hitless in 2 trips today. Foul out to DeCinces. He's out on a fly ball to left in the 4th. High, but probably playable for Hendrick. He'll drop back a couple of steps. Now backpedal a couple more. Gedman hit it hard, but too high, and he's out number 1. Some loosening action for Tim Lawler in the Red Sox bullpen. Angel bullpen very quiet all afternoon today and really have not had any reason to be otherwise. Slayton's been pretty much in control. Only 2 times, 2 innings through actually 5 now as far as the leadoff hitter is concerned, have the Red Sox had the leadoff man on. That was a single by Evans in the 4th, the double by Boggs in the 6th. Boggs wound up spinning that entire inning at second, though, in the 6th, as Buckner, Rice, and Baylor all went down. Base hit to right by Marty Barrett. Marty carrying a healthy batting average against right-handers.
Just kind of leaned out after that outside pitch and took it into right field, which is he is wont to do. Past the dive of Joyner, and Marty just about that ought to put him up at about 300 for this homestand.
Prior to today's game, he was hitting .339 against right-handers, so doesn't make much difference to him. And because he is using the whole ballpark, that's one thing that's had that average seek the level that it's at. Here's center fielder Steve Lyons. A hole for him on the right side. 1 down. Barrett stands there. Way out in front of the dirt. Nice stop again by Narron. He's had a couple of those today, maybe 3. This point in the ball game here, blocking what would be a wild pitch. Sometimes goes a little bit unnoticed.
At a 59-foot fastball, and then drops right in front of him. Cuts the body, squared away, got it right up against the chest protector.
Terry Forster now up, shaking around in that Angel bullpen, the left-hander. Tailing fastball just edges off the outside corner. Steve up in the count now, 2-0.
Here is David Letterman's biggest booster.
Man played with some constant back problems throughout the first part of his major league career. And now he has a weight problem that they really have to stay on top of. 3 balls, no strikes to Lyons. Boy, could he throw hard, Ned. I don't know what his velocity is now. But Forster could really bring some heat. And when he combined with right-hander Gossage out of that Chicago bullpen.
Right after watching 7 innings of Wilbur Wood's knuckleball.
Oh, my goodness.
Not fair.
Ball 4 to Lyons on 4 pitches. He'll go to first. Barrett to second with 1 out. And Glenn Hoffman will be the hitter. That's the second walk given up by Slayton. From the 7th inning on in Chicago with those 2 fellas around, you could tell the bat boy just to go put the helmets up and the bats. You didn't have much use for either one with those guys out there. And then they had the wild idea they were going to make both of them starters.
Yeah, that was
because they were running out of starting pitching.
They had the best bullpen in the league right there with those best 2-man pen with those guys.
Oh, well, they had a lot of late inning hitters that like to see those guys go to the starting role. First and second, here's Hoffman, 1 down. Breaking ball over by Slayton, strike 1. Hoffman today 1 for 2. He had a sharp single to right back in the 5th inning. California 2, Boston 1. We are playing in the bottom of the 7th inning. A little bigger breaking ball that time from Jimmy Slayton. Hoffman couldn't quite reach the end of it. He's down in a big hole. No balls, 2 strikes. Tried to rush inside on him with a fastball, and Hoffman cleaned him out of there, but well fouled down the third base way.
It had that wind we had a couple of days ago. That would have been a home run. Could have blown it right back in there to the screen.
Barrett at second, Lyons at first. And again, a good stop by Naron. This is the importance of keeping that ball in front of you. When that base runner sees that ball in front of you, directly in front of you, not way off to the right or off to your left, they know immediately that they have no chance of advancing a base. When that catcher's got to take more than maybe 2.5, 3 steps or 4 steps to go get the ball, every time he's taking those steps, you're probably taking 1.5 as a runner. You've got a shot. The 1-2 to Hoffman. Hits it hard. Good to Sensei. Will they get 2? No. To Sensei all the way across the diamond. He had no shot at Barrett at second. Ball hit hard by Hoffman, but the Sensei got in the way.
Well, Glenn got good wood on the ball. Got the pitch, breaking pitch right over the heart of the plate. Good reaction by DeCinces, knowing he did have a shot at first base, but not quite in time to get Lyons.
Now you've got to find a way to drive in the tough run. 2 outs now in the bottom of the 7th inning. Red Sox trailing 2-1. And Dwight Evans is the hitter. A little measuring going on around at the plate, trying to determine where that back line should or should not be.
Boy, somebody got it messed up for Dwight, didn't they?
Well, they've got two holes dug right there, kind of close together. Very uncomfortable to have to stand on that ridge that's in between. Your foot goes sliding off the back into the deeper of the two holes. Red Sox are looking for a gap shot. Evans fouls it away, right side, 0-1. Angel outfield, I'm surprised not perhaps playing a little bit deeper than they are right now, Ned, in the bottom of the 7th inning. Lions certainly with some decent speed on it first. The ball gets through that gap there. You're going to have a runner like Lions, especially with 2 outs, give him a chance to score. Tailing fastball started off the plate, came back and got the outside corner. Dwight down in the count now 0-2.
Good pitch by Slayton, with possibly Dwight looking for a breaking ball.
Looped into right field. Is it fair? No, just foul by inches. Well, to give you an example, of course, there's Lyons right there now. He just rounds third. He can just make a shortcut now and go back to first. Of course, playing deep or not wouldn't have made any difference with that one. Have a little bit of an idea of how quickly he would be able to get around the bases with the 2 outs. He kind of gets a head start on a fly ball.
Evans just about saving himself, almost got himself a base hit here, and that's about a half a foot foul.
No balls, 2 strikes to count. 2 out, 2 on. Boston trailing by 1. Reached for a high pitch, and he'll foul it down the third base line. Red Sox having to play the kind of baseball they're playing, Ned, to stay where they are in this American League East, just a half game behind Cleveland, who actually is percentage points ahead of the New York Yankees. Cleveland winning last night in extra innings. The Yankees beating Chicago 4-1. Think of the kind of homestand they had. You would figure that they would have made some ground, and they have indeed. They started this homestand at 2.5 games behind, but winning 6 out of 7, you figure to pick up more than 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes to do it. What did you say they had in Cleveland last night? 27,000?
I think it was 27. Yeah, that was this crowd that came late, apparently a flash crowd, because the Indians were doing well. But the way they put it on the wire last night, you expected about 45.
Quisenberry gave up his first run of the year, and it cost him. He took the loss. A little high and tight to Evans, maybe to make a little more room for Slayton on that outside corner.
Well, he's been feeding breaking stuff to Dwight, except for that tailing fastball. This time he gets it up off the point of the shoulder, knocks him back.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Dwight. He hung it and he loped it to left field. Barty around second. Around third, he will score. Lions to third, and we're tied at 2.
A double by Evans, and what a piece of hitting he did after missing a double down the right field line on a reach. He slams this one. Good pitch to hit. A hanger by Slayton, and he rips it down into the left field corner for 2. A run scores. Runners are at second and third, and we're all tied up. Fine bit of hitting by Evans.
Marty touching the plate there with the second Red Sox run. Lions making that move to third and staying right on the bag. Marcel Latchman, the pitching coach of the Angels, to the mound. And they're going to make the pitching move to the left-hander right here. They're not going to take any chances with Boggs, the hitter, actually Buckner behind him. So Slayton, who held the Red Sox in check today nicely for 6 2/3 innings, could not get out of the jam here in the 7th inning. He will leave this game with a possibility of being the loser. He cannot be the winner. And Terry Foster, the big hard-throwing left-hander, will be making his way from that California Angel bullpen.
Well, it'll be interesting to see about Terry Forster and how he looks now. They had just picked him up not too long ago, and Forster has been in 9 games for the Angels as a reliever. He has won 2 of them, no losses, and a 2.25 earned run average. He has worked 8 innings in those 9 appearances, given up 6 hits and just 2 runs, both earned, allowed 1 homer. He walked 3 and has struck out 8, so he still has some of the strikeout pitch going. And of course, it's not quite as hard as it used to be, but he is a pitcher now and has been for a number of years. Last year with the Atlanta Braves, he won 2, lost 3, and had 1 save. Appeared in 46 games. He was with Atlanta from 83 through 85. He's been with the Dodgers most of his work, as we were mentioning, with the White Sox in relief. The year that they tried to start Gossage and Forster was 1973, when Terry started 12 games. But the rest of the games he appeared in were relief. He appeared in 51 games in all, and he had 16 saves. His best save year was 1972 with the White Sox, when he saved 29 games. He had 24 saves to lead the league in 1974, 22 of them in 1978, and he had 13 saves in 1983 with Atlanta. He went through a conditioning program over the winter, took off some weight. They said they would not take him at all unless he did take it off, but some of it may have come back on.
Listed right now at 6'4", 230. He's 34 years old. He's been around the game a long time, a lot of years of experience in there. He may need all those years of experience right here facing this man, Wade Boggs, with the go-ahead run at third and a pad run at second. 2 down in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Red Sox have scored 1 to tie this game at 2-2. Forster inside to Wade, ball 1. 6 2/3 innings of work for the starter Jim Slayton. He gives up 6 hits, 2 runs. He's responsible for 2 runners. He walked 2, struck out 1 through 101 pitches. Too high to Wade, 2-0. Forster, born in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We were wondering if there's some other player we were talking about from South Dakota, and wondering if there was somebody else from there. There's one. Too high to Wade, and it's 3-0. Now makes his home just outside of Atlanta in Dunwoody, Georgia. Too high, and on 4 pitches, Boggs goes to first, and that'll bring up Bill Buckner. The last time I remember seeing Terry Forster, and you'll remember this, Ned, was in Chicago. I had a no-ball, 2-strike count on me when all the smoke started to come out of the right field seats when the concession stand caught on fire.
I remember that.
Smoke or no smoke, I had no chance anyway. After about a 45-minute delay, he just promptly put me away. Here's Buckner. Off the hands, loop to Wilfong at second. And the Red Sox cannot do any more damage, so Forster comes on, walks the batter, gets Buckner, and really does his job. He stops the bleeding here in the 7th. After 7 full innings of play, the Angels and the Red Sox tied at 2. So the Red Sox trying to do something that they've done a little bit of lately, Ned, come from behind and take away another one from an opponent as we go to the 8th inning. This one just kind of nice and cozy at 2-2.
Boy, it's a corker of a pitching duel. Oil Can Boyd still out there for the Red Sox. Terry Forster has relieved Slayton, who did a fine job for the Angels. 2-2, 4 hits for California, 6 hits for Boston. Top of the 8th, Schofield up. And there's a base hit dropped into right center field to start it off. Quickly covered by Evans. Schofield is on to lead the 8th inning. The 5th hit for the Angels. That was number 1 for Schofield.
Schofield, well, that's a good little piece of hitting there. He looked like he may have been looking for a breaking ball. He was just set up to shoot that ball to the right side. That ball didn't have much hump in it. A lot of straight into that one.
Here's George Hendrick. came on to play in the 5th inning when Pettis was hurt. Hendrick grounded to third his first time up. Bunts it nicely to the right side. Buckner will have to play it back to Barrett. Sacrifice works, and the lead run goes down to second. Hendrick does his job. Schofield at second. 1 out. The hitter is Rob Wilfong, second baseman. 0 for 3. He is popped to first, grounded to first, and struck out.
Boy, here's a good time here for him, Ed, to do one of his ideal things to do.
Drag a bunt along the right side.
Or either that or dump it down the third side.
Make Boggs come. So he doesn't listen to us on that one anyway, and misses for strike 1. Joe Sambito and Bob Stanley in the bullpen for Boston. Strike 2. Foul tip. Oakland got 4 more runs in the 9th inning. They now have a 17-2 lead over Toronto. It'll be a quiet Toronto plane, won't it? Out of there tonight.
My goodness.
Kingman, Tettleton, Kingman again, and Lansford home runs for Oakland. And Toronto has used the whole staff. Right side foul. Oakland A's finishing their long road trip too. The 3 West Coast clubs, they had a series before even getting out of the West Coast, or before coming to the East Coast. Then some more, and then they go to the Midlands for, some of them do, for the rest. There's a little swinging diagonal bunt, but it's foul. Count is 0-2 to Rob Wilfong. 2 runs and 5 hits for California. 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors for Boston. Hoffman dancing around behind the bag there, and it's ball 1 outside to Wilfong. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two and 2. So trip to the office now and get settled. What to do on this 2-2 pitch. Ground ball, base hit into center field. This will break the tie. Throw comes toward the plate. Nowhere near in time, and it's 3-2 California. As Boyd loses his hitter, he had an 0-2 count to Wilfong, got him to 2-2, and Wilfong hangs in there to ground a single, driving in a run. Rob Wilfong has done that before in times like these against the Red Sox, and that's going to be it for Oil Can Boyd. After that, with Joyner coming up and Jackson behind him, they want the left-hander Joe Sambito from the bullpen as Oil Can Boyd leaves, trailing 3-2 in the ball game. Well, just could not get that hitter out when he needed to, but he did not pitch badly today. He stayed right in on a tough afternoon, a cold afternoon to pitch, and in that time goes 7 1/3 innings and gives up 6 hits and 3 runs. He walked nobody, and he struck out 4 along the way.
Long time since we've seen Joe Sambito toe a mound here, since April the 22nd, as a matter of fact, against the Detroit Tigers. For Joe all over, this will be his 6th appearance, excuse me. No wins, no losses, a 5.40 earned run average, 1 save to his credit. 1 2/3 innings of work. He's given up just 1 hit, 1 run, and it was 2 runs, excuse me. It was earned. Hasn't walked a batter, and he has not struck out anyone.
Oil Can Boyd threw 83 pitches while he was in there. And he leaves things over to Joe Sambito. First man he'll face will be Wally Joyner, the first baseman. Of course, Reggie Jackson's due to schedule him out on deck, and he goes over to talk, Jackson does, to talk to somebody in the dugout, to Mock, about Sambito, who of course has been a National Leaguer all his life. Reggie has been an American Leaguer all his life.
Looking back at Joe's outings, his 5 previous appearances has not gone more than 1/3 of an inning in each time. That save, of course, coming against Detroit in Detroit. That's when he got Herndon out on that little comebacker right back to the mound. He's worked against Detroit 4 of his 5 previous appearances, 3 in Detroit, once here in Boston, his other outing against the Chicago White Sox.
So he has a job to do right now. He's got 2 tough left-handed hitters up there. Joyner first, and then Reggie Jackson, with a runner at first base, 1 run in and 1 out in the 8th inning. California leading 3-2. Sambito came on to make the club in spring training. He was invited to the spring training camp. He was not on the roster at all, coming off all the surgery that had to be done on him, his arm, the Tommy John type operation, with muscle out of the leg being joined into the arm. A whole year of rehabilitation, and actually just a little bit of work last year with the Mets and with their Tidewater system, their AAA club, but had a fine spring training, and the Red Sox wanted somebody to come in and get the left-handers out. Well, that's what he's entrusted with right now. Stanley stays alive in the bullpen. Little pop fly into shallow left center field. Lyons coming on. Hoffman wants it, and Glenn Hoffman settles under it finally to make the catch. Had a long run for Lyons, of course, but Hoffman had it in his eyesight all the way. So on 1 pitch, Sambito gets Joyner.
One thing that's helping Hoffman here a little bit too, and making it a long run from Lyons. Remember, that wind's kind of been blowing in from Hoffman's back, so that ball's going to get held up a little bit for it's trafficking out into shallow, really shallow left center field. Hoffman with plenty of time to get under it.
So now the 1-on-1 is Sambito and Jackson. Reggie is 0 for 3. Ball 1. He has grounded twice to Marty Barrett at second, and he has flied to left field. Two and nothing. Jackson trying to keep this inning alive for the Angels, who have moved ahead in the game. Red Sox trying to keep it on a 1-run basis right now. All the way around. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Ball's up in my eyes, he said. And you're right, Reggie, it was. But you can't let it pass. If you're looking for something like that to work on to maybe really drive the ball, I'd like rather see him swing at it maybe and take a chance of hitting it than I have going 3-0.
Strike 2. 2-2.
Asking if that one was high. I don't think so that time, Reggie. That's just a good throw by Sambito there. Got right in the upper outside part of that strike zone rectangle, right where it was. That's not too high.
No, that's fine. Certainly in this league it's fine. 2-2. Fly ball left field. Jim Rice back. He has room and the ball, and that takes care of that as Joe Sambito does indeed get the left-handers out. 1 run, though, for California. We move to the bottom of the 8th. California 3 and Boston 2. A couple of changes for the Angels. They have a new catcher. He's not catching out there now, but it will be coming out in a moment. Bob Boone will do the catching as he walks out from the dugout. And the new pitcher there is Booney coming out to replace Narron back of the plate. And the new pitcher will be the right-hander Doug Corbett.
Well, just as Sambito did his job to get out the left-handers, Forrester did the same for the California Angels. So they set it up now and turn it over to Doug Corbett. No saves, as you see there, no record. 1.50 earned run average. This will be appearance number 5 for the California reliever. 12 innings of work. He's given up 5 hits and 2 runs. One of those or both of them have been earned, excuse me. He has walked 5, struck out 6, and he's given up 1 home run. He has been in very high, or been held in very high esteem as far as Gene Mauch is concerned, and then he's had some times when he wasn't held in such high esteem. For some reason he just had a problem for a while. He just simply could not get the ball over the plate. Couldn't get anybody out because he was working behind in the count. They sent him to the minor leagues, brought him back, and now he's battled back. But he has had some good years as a good, solid, strong man and short man coming out of a Minnesota bullpen at one time. That's where Mauch originally had him, and now with the California Angels.
Well, a couple of years with Minnesota, he had 23 saves one year and 17 another. Then he was traded in 1982, and that's when he went bad. He was 1-7 with California in '82. After being 0-2 at Minnesota, that's when he went to Spokane. Then the next year he was at Edmonton. The next year, part of the time in Edmonton. But he's got the good sinker. He'll keep the ball down around your feet. And he faces Jim Rice. Three to 2, California leads. Strike one. Milwaukee 3 and Seattle nothing after 3. And Cecil Cooper got his 2000th major league hit. 1-1, a single for Coop, who's Bryce's best friend, as the Brewers lead Seattle 3-0 after 3. Swift against Nieves. Outside to Rice, ball 2, 2-1.
He and Rice, excuse me, he and Rice may have had a little golf ball bet on who was going to get to 2,000 first. Jimmy still needs 8, so I guess Coop will wind up with the with the golf pellets.
2-1 count to Jim. Hammered to the left side, DeCinces. And there's one out.
Let's go, baby. Set it up.
Jesse Barfield has hit his second home run of the game for Toronto. He's about the only Blue Jays doing anything today. And it is 17-3, at least, in the bottom of the ninth, Oakland leading. That was Barfield's 6th and a second of the game. Corbett will work to Baylor now. Don has grounded out twice and walked. One ball, no strikes. Aimed outside, ball 2, 2-0.
You talk about pitchers who just completely lose it. And when you talk about one of those fellas, you have to remember Steve Blass, who went from just about short of being a world beater to absolutely couldn't get anybody out. And that was with the Pittsburgh Pirates back in the early 70s.
After that great series he had.
Yes, sir.
Strike one as Baylor is handcuffed, 2-1. And that became the case, really, of not finding the plate at all. He couldn't get the ball over. Walked everybody. Lost his confidence. It just completely shattered. 2-1. 3-1 now to Don. Red Sox trailing by a run in the 8th inning. Each team has 6 hits. The Red Sox have made a couple of errors. Little nubber going off the fist to first base, and Joyner will have it easily. Well, I didn't mean that. There are 2 outs.
Corbett once in a while will have you swinging at his motion. He'll see a lot of knees and elbows. He'll turn his back on you a little bit once in a while. That ball just a little cue shot.
Rich Gedman coming up. He's 0 for 3. Fouled to third. He flied deep to left. That was on the collision between Downing and Pettis at that time, sending Pettis to the hospital. And the last time up, Rich flied to right field. 1 strike to him. One and one. 2 outs, 8th inning. Missing low, ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike to Rich Gedman. Doug Corbett, the 3rd pitcher used by Gene Mauch. Forster worked the 2 batters, walked one of them, got the other one out, and that was his job. Serve to shortstop. Taken by Schofield. The inning is over, 1-2-3. So we go to the 9th inning with California leading 3-2.
Steve Crawford now coming on to become the 3rd Red Sox pitcher of the afternoon. Sam Beto turning in 2/3 of perfect work for himself, facing those left-handers and getting out. One of them, the court. Well, actually, both of them have been very tough for other American League pitchers. The young first baseman, Joyner, and then Reggie Jackson. For Shagman, this will be his 7th appearance. The only Red Sox pitcher on their staff to have not given up a run. He has no record, no saves, 8 hits given up in 6 2/3 innings of work. He's walked 3, and he has struck out 2. Of course, his job right now, keep this thing at 1 run, and let's get my bottom third of the order back up there in the 9th. Mr. Martin that have been making things happen, and see what can happen.
Well, that's it. This has been well, the pitcher's day, really. You can almost tell it when the wind was starting to blow in at the outset of the game, but pitchers have done a good job all the way through, and it's been a hard day to hit. First man up will be Brian Downing. Downing, DeCinces, and Jones up against Crawford. Now you're right. Sambito didn't look like the layoff hurt him very much. Came in, got the through strikes, and got the left-handers out. Downing is 1 for 3. Ball 1. Wants another one. It's all over in Toronto finally. Oakland 17-3 over Toronto. 17 hits for the A's, no errors. Toronto 3 runs, 7 hits and 3 errors, and a whole barrage of home runs. A strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Moose Haas, first 6-game winner. He is 6-0. Jimmy Key, the loser, he's 0-3. Big rip by Downing. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Oh, he has got some hemp flying here. Whew.
A lot of movement on that fastball, right in tight on Downing. 1-2. Checks a swing in time. 2-2. Dave Kingman had a pair of home runs in that game for Oakland. Mickey Tettleton hit 1. So did Carney Lansford. And Jesse Barfield hit 2 for Toronto. Two-two pitch. To third, foul. Milwaukee leading Seattle 3-0 after 3.5.
Getty's hurt a little bit. That one wild pitch, or not, wasn't a wild pitch. That ball that was off the plate by Crawford. He had to snap at it really quick to hang on to it. And notice him flexing it a little bit there. And then on that particular pitch, when he started to move after Downing had grounded, he started to go down to first. Like it kind of grabbed him again. He's had some problems earlier this season with that back. And of course, he had some days of it in spring training when it was really aggravating.
Well, so far so good. He'll hang in there right for now. 2-ball, 2-strike count to Brian Downing. Out of play. It's a bad thing to have for a catcher, particularly a bad back.
You're not kidding. You have to move around back there. You try to keep yourself where you can balance out and move either way you want to go and be fairly comfortable. When that back starts grabbing you, there is no comfortable way to go. No place to get comfortable.
Shot in fair between Buckner and the bag, down around the line there, and Brian Downing into second base. He's got a double. Well, he moves back into the league lead in double as he gets his second double in 2 games here.
Throwing a pretty good at bat against Shag here. Got himself, he was down in the count, had a ball thrown right by him, and it just kept whittling away. Here we go, here or there. Finally, he sticks it in between the bag and Buckner. Fan will come close to it there, but no contact. And he'll have his 11th double of the year.
Lawler is in the bullpen, up for the second time. So now a tough situation for the Red Sox. They need to keep it on a 1-run basis if they can, but pad runners at second base with nobody out. Downing up there with DeCinces at the plate. Doug is 0 for 3. Fly ball, twisting foul down the right field line and out of play. DeCinces trying to go to the right side, try to get Downing over there and situate him at third base with 1 away. Or possibly try to serve a single out there to the right side. 0-1 to DeCinces. Crawford comes in on him, fouls it off, and it's 0-2.
Just tie him up. He's set up to hit that ball to the right side. He'll come lunging out there. This ball comes running in at him. Right off of Terry Cooney's face mask.
No extension there, is it?
There's another man with a bad back over his career. It's cost him a lot of playing time.
No balls, 2 strikes. Knocks him down. Won't be lunging much. Keeps that up. With the closed stance anyway, and a chance to try to drill it to right field. That's what Crawford wants, that part of the plate right now.
Well, he comes diving out over that plate. You got that closed stance. He's back deep in the box. Oops. Sometimes, I tell you, if that ball doesn't bend around you, you just don't get out of the way of that pitch.
1-2. Takes it to right on a line, but Evans is there. And Downing has to get back to second. Ball hit sharply by DeCinces. Crawford got the ball out a little bit more than he wanted to, and DeCinces did a good job, but lined it right to Evans.
Well, even after all the stuff that's in close to him, DeCinces still has got the right side in his mind. Actually giving himself up all the way through the count with the 2 strikes. Hit the ball hard, but still didn't get the job done.
So there's 1 away. Batter is Rupert Jones, center fielder, 1 for 3. They're going to walk him. Left-handed batter up there. Bob Boone, the on-deck hitter. So they will walk Jones with a base open. Put runners at first and second. There is Boone. And with one out, we'll try to set up and hope for the double play ball. Certainly a force or something. Intentional walk given to Jones. In that National League game at Chicago, things are happening there too, as the Dodgers have had home runs from Steve Sachs, from Bob Welsh, their pitcher, a 3-run job, his second of his career, and Mariano Duncan has hit a home run for the Dodgers. 3 for the Dodgers. Gary Matthews and Sean Dunston have homered for the Cubs. It is LA 5, and the Cubs now have it 3. At least 3.
Guess which way the wind's blowing over there.
That's right. Downtown for Wrigley. Boone is the batter and taking ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Boone, a .230 hitter, caught in last night's game. To third, foul. Boggs wished it were fair. Could have had the bag there and a double play probably. 1 ball, 1 strike. Broken bat. California Angels leading here if you just joined us. We're in the top of the 9th inning. They lead 3-2, and they have runners at first and second with 1 out. Leadoff double by Downing, complicating things for Crawford and the Red Sox. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out. In tight to Boone. Backing away from it. Ball 2. 2-1. Dick Schofield is the on-deck hitter. Crawford backing out now. Boone up there in a big spot, and it's a big spot for Crawford, who wants to keep this game at a 3-2 angle, giving the Red Sox a better chance in the bottom of the 9th. It's low, ball 3. 3-1. Red Sox 9th inning will have Barrett, Lyons, and Hoffman, the 7, 8, 9 hitters, scheduled up. Barrett sneaking over at second base, trying to keep the runner Downing close. Trying to take the step or so away. In case the ball is rifled into left. The runners take off. It's foul back. On the 3-1 count, they had a play going, sending the runners, but Boone fouls it, and now it is 3 balls and 2 strikes. Gedman to the mound. Downing led the inning with a double down the right field line. The Senseis line to right, Downing holding second, and Jones has been purposely passed. Now it's 3-2 to Boone.
Wouldn't say that Gene wouldn't run him again, but I would guess now that he would not, since the strikeout might enter his mind here. Boone strikes out a lot. Strike him out, throw him out, maybe take him out of a chance of getting another run.
They go, and it is looped into right center field for a hit. 1 run will definitely score. The ball heels off the glove of Lyons. They are sending the runner, and the relay to home is not in time. They busted up with a 5-2 lead. They had the runners going, and Bob Boone gets the single into right center field. The ball heeling off the glove of Lyons for an error, allowing the second run to score.
Well, he doesn't let it enter his mind, the strikeout that is, and what happens here by getting the 2 runners on a head start. Of course, Downing is going to score easily from second. Nothing they can do about that. But that little miscue there will allow Jones, who was off and running on the pitch, to have a chance to score. There's Downing around third. He will head home for the insurance run. The big turn by Boone, he'll hold there. Throw coming back into the infield, and Jones scoring the second pad run.
Schofield fouling one to the screen. Now a report on Gary Pettis. There is no fracture detailed in the x-rays taken at the hospital on the area right above Pettis's knee. Curveball fouled first base side. Well, this crowd of 14,072 quieted down a little bit now as the Angels have come up with 2 important runs in the top of the 9th inning. There was a 3-2 ball game going in, but a double, an out, an intentional walk, and a clutch single on a 3-2 pitch by Boone, plus the error by Lyons getting 2 runs home. It's 2 quick strikes to Schofield. The Red Sox, after going errorless in 6 straight games, have committed 3 errors here in this one. There's a strike called, and that takes care of it. Schofield, caught looking at that pitch on the outside corner, had an earnest discussion with umpire Terry Cooney. He's gone.
I don't know if this was borderline or not. Didn't look like a strike to me. But yes, sir. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It might have been
started out like one, but I don't think it ended one. Anyway, it is a strikeout, and the batter is Hendrick. George is 0 for 1. He has a sacrifice. Came into the game after Pettis was injured in the 5th inning. And Hendrick came on to play, and he's been up 2 times. Grounded out his first and sacrificed his second time. 2 balls, no strikes. There is a foul tip off the bat of Hendrick. Gary Pettis is back in the ballpark now. Will travel back home with the club and will be reevaluated by the team doctor in California tomorrow. 3-1. And Crawford, having a bit of a struggle in this inning, walks Hendrick. Second walk off Steve, and the first unintentional walk. And McNamara comes out. The batter will be Rob Wilfong from the left side. And Tim Lawler is going to be brought on to pitch to him as Crawford leaves the game. So Shag gets in there and has trouble in the 9th inning. Gives up 2 runs on a couple of hits and 2 walks and 1 strikeout. One of the walks intentional and responsible for 2 runners, and Tim Lawler comes on.
Well, the big left-hander who has not been seeing a lot of action has been loosening a lot in that bullpen, kind of situations for him. He is more or less one of the long people that will work out of John Mack's bullpen right now, although he finds himself here working in a very short position, trying to stop this 9th inning as far as the Angels and the Red Sox are concerned. For Timmy, this will be his 4th appearance, his 3rd as a reliever. 1 win, no losses. That 1 win coming as a starter. He has no saves. A 2.25 earned run average. 8 innings of work. He's given up 3 hits and 2 runs, both earned. He's walked 9, and he has struck out 2.
And he is the 4th pitcher to be used by McNamara this afternoon. Oil Can Boyd went 7 1/3 innings, gave up 6 hits and 2 runs, 1 of them unearned. Sam Bito did a perfect job getting the 2 left-handed hitters, Joyner and Jackson, out in his 2/3 of an inning. And Crawford just now has worked 2/3 and has given up 2 hits and a couple of runs. So that makes things even more binding for the Red Sox as they eventually, coming to bat in the 9th inning, will find themselves not down by just 1, but now by 3. And Lawler entrusted with the job of getting the last left-hander out, Wilfong. Behind him, of course, Joyner and Jackson. Angels got a pair in the 3rd on Gary Pettis's home run curling to the right field foul pole. Boston got 1 back in the 4th. They tied it up in the 7th on a single by Evans. But California went ahead with a run in the 8th, and they have had 2 runs here in the 9th inning. The biggest hit has been the single by Bob Boone with a couple of people on base, driving in run, and then when one of them, and then when the error was made on that single by the center fielder Lyons, the other run scored. Since that time, there's been a strikeout and a walk. So Lawler will be facing Rob Wilfong. Oakland beat Toronto 17-3. And now Milwaukee's added a pair of runs in their 4th inning. They lead 5-0 over the Seattle Mariners. In that game, Cecil Cooper has had a single, and that is his 2,000th career base hit. And hats off to old friend Coop. Rob Wilfong standing in. Strike 1. Wilfong has grounded out, popped up, struck out, and singled. His single drove in a run, the go-ahead run in the 8th inning. Strike 2. Tried to hold back the swing, and is quickly down on the count, 0-2. Up and in for ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out, and 2 on.
Might tag some new nicknames on that Toronto and Oakland game. Could be the Raiders against the Argonauts.
Got a lot of rouges for the Argonauts.
Boy.
2-2. 17-3. Ooh. Oakland has a few folks that are capable of hanging those numbers up, though.
How'd they shut Canseco down, though?
I don't know. Slowly hit to the left side, maybe trouble, and it is. Safe at first base is Wilfong. Boggs having to make the play there, and it goes as an infield single. Bases loaded.
Everybody really swung over for Wilfong to pull the ball, and he hits it right off the end of the bat, kind of like a cue shot. He's got a step already when he swings. Boggs cuts off Hoffman. Neither one of them had a very good chance of throwing Wilfong out as he got down that right-hand side. Boggs certainly would have cut it off, had more of a chance maybe than Hoffman, because it's going to take another step for Hoffman to get to the ball.
Pretty good pitch by Lawler. Just it happened that way for the Angels, and that's the kind of inning they're having. You don't hit the ball good, you get a base hit. Joyner taps one to shortstop. Hoffman quickly to Barrett, safe at second. Run scores. So now it's 6-2, and things are not happening well for the home 9 right now. Little ground ball, and Hoffman with the throw is too late to get the runner Wilfong.
Another cue shot. This time it's Joyner from the left side. Of course, he can run a little bit. Hoffman had that ball bounce a little bit to his right. The underhand flip. They say the call by the second base umpire Larry Young is that Barrett was off the bag, but I'm not so sure the throw was there in time anyway. Very close. Certainly Marty was not on the bag when contact made with a glove.
It has scored a fielder's choice and a run batted in. And here's Reggie Jackson taking a ball. Well, Lawler should have been on the bench by now and with a jacket on, because he's made 2 good pitches and had 2 infield nubbers do damage. Reggie all the way around. 1 ball, 1 strike. 5-2 lead for California. Not out of the woods yet. Base is full. Reggie peels off a foul, third base way, out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jackson is the 9th man to come up here in the 9th inning. Three runs have scored, 6-2 lead. And 3 are on base. Got him. Swinging strikeout. Lawler pitches to 3 batters, makes some good pitches, but still some runners cross the plate. And at the end of 8.5, it's 6-2 California. A long way to go for the Red Sox right now. They trail by 4 as they come to bat in the bottom of the 9th inning. A tight ball game being broken up by the Angels with a 3-run 9th against Steve Crawford. Lawler, of course, finished up for him. None of the runs charged to Tim. They went ahead in the 8th inning by that 3-2 count on the single by Wilfong. So we'll see what happens now as Marty Barrett comes on. Three of the runs charged to Oil Can Boyd. Marty Barrett stands in against Doug Corbett. Barrett is 1 for 3 and takes ball 1. Marty singled and scored the then tying run in the 7th inning. One ball, 1 strike. And that makes it a 2-1 count. Two balls, 1 strike. Corbett, the 3rd pitcher used by Gene Mauch, trying to nail it down here as Barrett looks at a strike. 2-2. Steve Lyons on deck. Right now, there's Lyons. Right now, what the Red Sox need are runners. Grounder to short. Schofield. 1 out. Steve Lyons coming on. Lyons has flied twice to left field and has walked. And Tony Armas has come out on deck. He will bat for Hoffman, getting his first time in a ball game since being hurt. Kansas City. There's a strike to Lyons. The Angels leading 6-2 in the 9th. They're out hitting the Red Sox 9-6. Red Sox have made 3 errors. Steve going in the opposite way but fouling it off, and now it's 0-2. Missing outside and low. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Crowd of 14,072 on this cold afternoon. Saw pitching dominate for the most part. It's looped on a line to 3rd, and DeCinces has it for the out. Kind of a soft line drive served into the glove of DeCinces. Tony Armas will bat for Hoffman. Armas slowly recuperating from the thigh pull that he suffered in Kansas City. He's able to bat, but unable to go into the field yet, and they don't want to take any chances on that muscle pull. Tony wanting to get back in there, but this kind of weather, you don't really want to take any chances at all until he's 100%. Ball one. Tony hitting .210 with 1 homer. And looks at a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. The curveball does not get in. It's 2 balls, 1 strike. 2-1 count to Tony. 2 out in the 9th. Chops it toward the middle. That's going to make it into the glove of the second baseman, Wilfong, but a base hit. And they'll run for him. So Tony gets a pinch single. And Ed Romero will run for him. Eddie Romero running for Armas, who gets a pinch single, getting the ball right in the middle there. Finally taken by Wilfong, but he had no play at all. Past shortstop, but into second base. So it's a single for Armas, and Romero running for him. Top of the order, Dwight Evans. Taking low from Corbett, ball 1. Evans has had 2 hits in this game today, a single and a double. His double tied up the game in the 7th inning. Down it goes to Wilfong. This ends the game right here. The force out is made that way, and the Angels come off with a split of this 2-game series. In the 9th inning, no runs for the Red Sox. They had a hit, and they leave 1 runner. And the final score, the Angels 6 and the Red Sox 2. We'll be back in a moment with our instant replay.
Brian, first of all, thanks very much for stopping by here this afternoon. I know it's cold. I know you want to get to the shower and jump on an airplane. Winding up a road trip like this, it's always nice to have a win under your belt when you've got to go back across the coast.
Yes, we started on our road trip. We started great, but then we ran into Milwaukee, and they gave us a tough time. We didn't swing the bat worth a darn, and we came here, and the Red Sox pitchers stopped us pretty good until late today, and we've had a pretty good offensive year until the last couple of days, so we're looking forward to getting home again after being away for so long.
Brian, you've had a lot of success against Red Sox pitching. You're a little bit over 260 for a lifetime average. A lot of home runs, 16 as a matter of fact. 3 hits last night, 2 again tonight. You seem to always figure into something when these 2 ball clubs meet.
Well, there's no secret that this is my kind of ballpark. I stand right on top of the plate and try to challenge them to throw the ball inside. And basically, for the most part, I try to pull everything unless they make good pitches down and away. I just try to take it to right. But no matter how bad I seem to be swinging, when I come into here, I get up to play. Maybe it's the atmosphere, but I think the wall has a lot to do with it, and I just get a lot of confidence going every time I come in here.
Are you affected by the wall a little bit? Is it a ballpark that when you start on the East Coast swing, you say, wow, I'm glad when I get to Fenway?
Well, if I'm struggling, I always look forward to coming here in Detroit, because even if the pitching staffs are strong, for some reason when I walk into those 2 ballparks, I feel like I have it back together again, and I can only really remember 1 year since I've been in the big leagues that I really had a tough time here, and that's why I'm down to 260. I think I had about a 1 for 25 in 1 season here.
You started your big league career behind the plate. You had some ankle problems. You've been one of maybe a handful that have gone from behind the plate into the outfield and been just as successful out there. Was it much of a changeover for you?
Well, I think the most difficult part, and what's probably going on with Carlton Fisk right now, is that I didn't want to make the switch to the outfield. Once you're a catcher, you're used to being involved all the time. You like the action. You like being a major part of the game. And you get to the outfield, and it's very quiet. Not too much happens. But it took me about a year to make the adjustment, and then I realized with the arm problems I had that it was the only way I could play any longer, and I accepted it. And now I'm having a good time because now I can really concentrate almost totally on offense, whereas a catcher I had to be more concerned defensively.
He's told me that he has problems figuring out what to do with his hands. What did you do with yours when you first went there?
With my hands, I was just worried about catching the ball first and foremost and not letting it get by me. But, you know, every time you put your fingertips in your back pocket or something when it's cold, 1,000 people start yelling at you, you know, get your hands out of your pockets and all this other stuff. So it's, I don't know, I try to keep pounding my glove and work with my glove most of the time. And the past catching experience really helps me. I have an idea of what our pitchers are going to do and where their hitters' tendencies are, and that makes up for a lack of speed and, as you previously mentioned, the leg ailments.
I don't know if you know about the report on Gary Pettis tonight. It is favorable. The x-ray showed that there's no damage above that knee. Second time that you two fellas that I know of have run together in the last couple of days. Exactly what happened on that play tonight, or this afternoon? He kind of misplayed it at first, and then you were making up the ground.
Well, I knew with Gedman and we had 2 strikes, I looked over at Gary, and the wind was really difficult today. It did 4 or 5 different things from pitch to pitch. It was doing something different. When I looked over him before the pitch, he was playing in left center field, so I figured I'll go a little bit more towards the line because he's in left center, and I don't have to worry about the gap with him out there. And when a ball was hit, I just assumed he was going to get it, and I was going about 3/4 speed maybe just in case it got off the wall. And I looked up, and he was breaking kind of backwards. And the wind took the ball and just started shooting it away from him into left center, and I realized he wasn't going to get there, so I just took out after it, and there wasn't time for either of us to call for it, and it was just one of those things. It wasn't as serious as the one a couple days ago, but we've had 2 pretty good collisions in the last 4 days.
Well, I don't think anybody in the American League would like to run into you. Most of all, Gary Pettis. You're put together pretty good from head to toe. Wouldn't be the easiest thing in the world for him to do. Your ball club, Blake, breaks the losing streak this afternoon. Can your ball club maintain what it has right now? Your working's dealing certainly with a lot of experience. Is your pitching going to be strong enough?
Well, our offense has been the most pleasant surprise, and that's basically what's carried us until lately. We knew our pitching was strong last year, and we knew they were going to come around, and they've pitched great for us lately, but we haven't hit. But that's the way losing streaks usually happen. You don't have all the components, but we're hanging in there, and Slayton's done well, Romanek, McCaskill, and we're a lot deeper with picking up Forster has been a big, big plus for us, and we're kind of holding the line until maybe Candelaria gets back, and we're going to be pretty strong. Our offense is much improved over last year.
Brian Downing, once again, thanks a lot for stopping by. We'll let you rush into that clubhouse now and get ready to make your trip to the West Coast. We'll be seeing you next week at the Big A.
All right, Bob.
The Red Sox loses this afternoon 6-2. They handle the California Angels. We'll go back to the studio now and join Sean.